Okay. Okay. So yesterday we have discussed about the account creation, like in order to practice your DevOps sessions, like any tool you want to practice it. So we are not going to touch our local machine, local server. It may be any operating system, Linux, Windows, or Apple, which operating system you are using it. So we are not going to install any kind of a softwares in your local machine. So everything practice we'll do in our AWS account. Why? Because we can easily manage it. We can easily install it. And if you don't require, so we can terminate it. But everything in AWS is a pay and use. You will not get much more bill. So there are certain free hours are available for, okay, the students who want to really explore the AWS and want to practice it. So they are providing certain 700 plus hours are free for EC2. Okay, so in our entire training, we are going to see only one service, that is EC2. So EC2 is one of the service in AWS which help us to create virtual servers. Okay, so to create a server is nothing but it's like a system. So how your local system is available, like Windows or desktop or laptop, anything you take it, same kind of a configurations we can create it, but that we are going to call it as a virtual server or virtual system. Okay, so in order to create a server or a system, so we have a predefined configurations are there. Even if you are purchasing any new laptop or desktop, anything you take it. So for what you will tell that I want RAM this much, I want storage. Okay, I want to go with operating system Windows or Linux. Like same thing for creating a virtual server also. We are having these configurations when it comes to the AWS. So if you want to create a virtual server in AWS, either Windows or Linux, so we have to follow these things. Okay, so operating system, we are not going to call as an operating system in AWS. We are going to call it as an admin. We don't use the keyword called operating system. In our language, for our understanding purpose, we can treat it as a operating system. But as per AWS language, they are going to call it as an AMI. What type of AMI you have chosen it? They will ask like this: Amazon machine image. They will ask that what is the full form of AMI? What does AMI will do? What does AMI does? Okay, so these type of questions will ask. AMI is nothing but just it's a terminology called operating system. That's it. As per AWS, we are calling as a AMI. So next time, if you want to select the RAM, so we are not going to call it as a RAM here. So they are using certain keyword called instance type. Instant type is the keyword they are using for RAM selection. So how much RAM you required? So which instance type you have selected it? So this is the thing we need to consider. This terminology for our understanding purpose. So this terminology as per AWS. Okay. So next storage, we are going to call it as a volumes here and EBS. Elastic block storage. In our terminology, we will call it as a drives: C drive, D drive, E drive, F drive, G drive. So if you are purchasing any laptop, you are taking something like 1000 GB hard disk, you take it. So what we will do? So defaultly nowadays it comes with only one drive. But in the older days, like we are going to do the partitions like C drive, D drive, E, F drives. Here, what are the storage we required? We don't need to do any partitions here. So it is providing the options for us. So those options we are going to call it as, we are not going to call it as a storage. We are going to talk about the volumes. Okay, so networking is nothing but, so we have seen the concept called region and availability zones. So wherever you are launching this server, which availability zone, which data center, which sub data center you want to launch it. So you have to choose the availability zone. So that we are going to call it as a subnet. So if you don't select any availability zone, you can provide, it will take default one. What is the default availability zone is there for this particular data center or particular region? In which region you are going to create a resource? So that region, it will select the particular subnet. This one. Okay. Tags. Tags, it will not do technically, it will not do anything. It is only for filter purpose. Suppose in my AWS account, I have 10,000 servers, 1,000 servers are there. So I want to filter the servers based upon the tag name. I will provide a tag name. This is tag name is for my project, something like project name. Okay, we can provide a key value pair here. So it will not do any technically, it will not do anything for server, only for filtering purpose. Okay, so we are going to use the tags. Security groups and key pair. These are very important. Security group is nothing but to whom you want to give access. What are the virtual server you are going to launch it? The system will not understand it. So from my local machine, I'm trying to connect to the server. Suppose for this is my virtual server, which I am going to launch it now. It may be a Linux or Windows. So this server is resides in your AWS account, right? So in this AWS account, you have gone to one of the region. From the region, we have selected EC2. From the EC2, we are going to create one virtual server. So that server may be Linux or Windows. Now I want to connect this virtual server. So this is my local machine. This is my local machine. From my local machine, this local machine is mine is Windows. From my local machine Windows, I want to connect to from my local machine, I want to connect to my virtual server, so which is present in my AWS account. Okay, so for every system or everything, so we have an identity called IP address. How the individual person will have the identity like PAN card, Aadhaar cards, passport. Why we have the unique identity? Same thing for the server also, we have the unique identity is there. Okay, so if you want to get this IP address, so for every server, we have unique identity called IP. For my server also, we'll have the IP address. So if my IP address is registered in my virtual server, so when I'm trying to send a request to the virtual server, so it will understand that, okay, so your IP address is registered at my place. I can allow me to give access to you. So those things we are going to discuss about the security groups. Security groups are nothing but to whom you want to give access. To which IP addresses you want to give access. Okay. So to give access to my account to my IP address or my local machine to your virtual server, my IP address has to be registered here. Okay. So now you have installed some Java based application in the server. I want to access this application. So this application is running on the port something 8090. If you want to access this application on the particular port, so that port has to be enabled in this server. So that port also we can define at the security level. Okay. So to whom you want to give the access and what ports you want to enable in the server. All the things we can see at the security groups. So these rules we are going to call it as a inbound rules. So there are two types of rules are there. So one is inbound rules, another one is outbound rules. Inbound rules is nothing but incoming requests. So before logging to the server, I'm sending my incoming request. Once you log into the server, from this server I have logged in, already I have logged in. From this server, I want to connect to some database.
Sam?
Yeah.
All these things actually we already discussed, right? These things.
New people has joined it, Ramesh. Some new
So
people
you want to revise all the AWS concept what we discussed?
No. Only DevOps things. For DevOps things only we want to discuss it. Not AWS things. Only server creation.
Okay.
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 So the new
Okay.
add-ons are added for only for DevOps training. So for those people, we are teaching only EC2 creation, server creation. Once they are
Okay.
able to
Fine.
log into the server, then we will jump to the DevOps.
Sure. Sure. Yeah, makes sense. Thanks.
Yeah, only for server creation because they have to practice everything in the EC2. So they have to know about the EC2. Okay. So now this is the way, like inbound rules is nothing but so to whom you want to give access and what ports you want to enable it. Outbound access is nothing but you have already logged into the server. From there, if you want to connect to some other services, so this will become outbound, this will become inbound. Inbound. Once you log into the server, from where you want to connect it, so those things we can discuss on outbound. So this is a one-time app activity. We will tell how to create the server, how to log into the server. So next time onwards, we will directly launch the server and we'll directly show how to, we'll directly connect and we'll do the practice. Okay. So next is finally we have the key pair. Key pair is nothing but let me put some. So fine, we have the key pair concept. Key pair is nothing but we don't have any password in server login. So we don't have like username, password. Username will have it, but password we don't have it. So here there is they're not using the password concept for Linux servers. They're using concept called key pair. So there are two keys are available. So one is public key, another one is private key. So private key, we are going to download it. Public key will be residing in your server itself. The private key. So when you're launching the server, so that key will be available there itself. So when I'm connecting from my local machine to the server, so if you are connecting via your private key, so that will match with your public key. If both the keys are matching, both private key and public key are matching, then only we can able to log into the server. Otherwise, we are not able to log into the server. So once you are downloading the private key, so the extension of the private key will be PEM or PPK. So key pair extension, you can give any name, something like test.pem or test.ppk. So you can provide any name, but the key pair extension should be PEM or PPK. So directly, if you want to log into your Linux server, so we have to use some additional softwares like Putty or Mobexter. So these are the two tools which help us to connect your servers. To connect to my Linux server, I have to download Putty or Mobexter. Okay, so Mobexter usage when goes to the DevOps activities, you will see the importance of Mobexter. Okay, so time being will go with Putty. So when time comes, I will show how to connect with Mobexter also. Okay, so when you are downloading any key pair, you can download as a PEM file or PPK file. So my suggestion is go with PEM file. If you download the PEM file, we can convert the PEM to PPK, we can convert it. Okay, so this is the whole process involved in server creation, EC2 server creation. Just we'll go to here. Once your account is activated, so in the search bar, search for EC2. That's it. Only one service. So click on the EC2 service. So here, click on the instances or instances running. Anything is fine. Only the running instance is the default filter. If you close it, all the instances will be shown. So just click on the launch instance. So which server you want to launch it? Something like name you can give it. Here, AMI. You want to work in the Linux or Windows? Linux. Next is instance type. First step is AMI, which operating system you want to work with. So that we have selected. Okay, operating system, I have selected Linux. So next is instance type, RAM. How much RAM you require? So it will be supported. A lot of RAMs are available here. You can see 0.5 GB, 1 GB, 2 GB, 8 GB, 16 GB. Okay, lot of GBs are available, 30 GB, 15 GB. Okay, so don't go with license versions. So wherever you see the free tier eligibility, so go with those things only. Don't go with other options. These are recommended for real-time scenarios. So these are for practice purpose. Okay, so we will go with free tier only for practice and training purpose. Instance type we'll go with 1 GB is enough. This is a key pair. Click on create new pair. I told it right, test. So two options are there, PEM or PPK. So my suggestion is to go with PPK. So with the help of PPK, we can connect to the putty or mobile external. So I'm downloading the key pair test. Just click on create. So you can see PEM file got downloaded. Okay. So next is network settings. So here, this server where you want to launch it. Which availability zone you want to launch it, which subnet you want to launch it, which sub data center you want to launch it, you can select it. I want to go with 1 means I have to select sub data center. Okay, if you don't select these options, default availability zone, it will select it. So finally, we have the security groups. You can create your own security group or we can select the existing security group. So default it is allowing. So just click on launch instance. That's it. So server got launched here. Click on the launch instance, go to the dashboard, click on the running. Refresh the page. Okay, you can see our server. So when I can log into the server, so the instance state will be running state and the status check will get 2 by 2. So once we get the status check 2 by 2, then only we can log into the server. Okay, so meanwhile the server is getting ready. So what we need to do? So in order to connect my local machine to the virtual server, so there is a third-party tool called Putty. So with the help of this Putty software, I am able to connect to my virtual server via Putty. From my local machine, I can connect it. Okay, so just go to the browser and download the Putty. So download the Putty. So what are the symbol you are seeing here? Same symbol you can see here. Okay, so if you want to download it, just click on download Putty. So which type of bit is your 32-bit operating system or 64-bit operating system? So just click on this one, click on next, next, next. It will be downloaded. Okay, so once you download it, you can see this thing. Same thing. So if you face any issue in the downloading part, anything, just please let me know. Okay, so this is the way. So I'm using the old version. The person who is downloading the first time, they will get the latest version. Okay, so now next part is downloads. If we see the downloads, we have downloaded the PEM file. So in order to connect to your Linux server, we have downloaded one key pair file. So if you want to connect to the server, we can't connect with PEM file. So we always use PPK file. Okay, Putty private key, PPK. So to convert to the PEM to the PPK, so there is additional software called, so that comes along with Putty only. So if you type Putty, So along with putty software, the additional software putty gen also will comes along with the putty only. No need to download it additionally. So just select the putty gen. So once you open the putty gen, so there is an option called load button. So click on the load. So it will ask for select your PEM file, not the PPK file, select the PEM file. So it is downloaded in the downloads, but we are not able to see. But if you go to the download section, I'm able to see the key file, but I'm trying to browse it. I'm not able to see. So defaultly it is looking for the PPK file. So we need to click on all files. Then if you select all files from this drop down, then only we can select the PEM file. PEM file got to be loaded. Now click on the save private key. Click on S. What are the name you want to see it? Devops, something like 7 AM batch. You can give your own name. And that's it. Okay. So with the PEM file, we have converted to the PPK file. Putty private key. So with single PEM file, we can create a number of PPK files. Don't lose this PEM file. If you lost the PEM file, so if you have the PPK file, okay. If you lost both the things, we can't connect to the server. Okay. So now how to know my key pair file? So which key pair? I'm launching 1000 servers. I don't know which key pair is associated. So just go to your server, go to drag it. You can see the key name. Okay. So which server you want to connect it? So after practicing, after doing lot of connectivity to servers, we have lots of servers are there. You are doing the process correctly. I'm selecting the correct only. You are following the process correctly, but you are telling that I'm not able to log in properly. You are getting unauthorized, failing, authentication failed. Why? Because the key name which is associated with the particular software, you are using another key pair. That's the reason we are unable to log in. So whenever you are connecting to which server, so what is the key name associated with it? So we need to be careful with the key name. So with this key name, so I have converted that key name with the PPK file. So once open the putty, refresh the page. Okay. So instance state should be always running. Server is running and the status check is 2/2. Then only we can log into the server. So once which server you want to connect it, just select that server. So in the detail section, we have the public IP address. Only with the public IP address only we can connect to the server. So if we select the private IP address, we can't connect it. So people do the common mistake that they will select the private IP address, trying to connect it. It is failing. Okay. Be careful while selecting the IP address. We should always select the public IP address. Copy it. The symbol which you are showing it, it is a copy symbol. No need to copy if you don't want to miss anything. So wherever is using the symbol, it's copied. Copied. Open your putty software under the hostname section. Just enter your to which IP address you want to connect it, which DNS name you want to connect it. Enter the details. So to log in it, generally we know username and password. But here for AWS server connectivity, we have only key pair files. So in the left side, we have SSH is there. Expand this SSH. Here authentication is there. Click on authentication. Don't expand it, click on it. So select this option, private key file for authentication. If you don't see at the authentication thing, expand it and see here. Don't select user supplied one. So you should be selected. You have to see the correct name, private key for authentication only. Something if you see the browse option, select like this. No. Wherever you see the option, private key. For latest versions, it may be somewhere here, here, or here. X authority is there. No, this is not the correct option. We don't have the option. User supplied. This is not the correct option. Private key for authentication is there. So that is the correct option. Private key for authentication is there. Just click on browse, go to your downloads. So this is my PPK file. Select the PPK. Okay, so next open, that's it. Click on accept. Default username is for all Linux machines EC2 user. That's it. So if you are able to log in successfully and if you are able to see the private IP address of your system, you have successfully launched to the server and so you successfully connected to the server. So if you are selecting the, like we have different AMIs are there. So different.
Sham, here while logging into the putty, we should not do the private IP, Sham.
Private IP, we should not log in it. We should always select the public.
Why, Sham? Like, what is?
Private is nothing but only the organization level. So if one more server is there, right? In the AWS account, I have launched one more server. So if you want to communicate from one server to other server within AWS account, we can use private IP address. So beyond this AWS account, if you are not in this network, we are outside of the network. If you want to connect to your AWS network, we should always go with your public.
Okay, as we are connecting from local machine, we need
local machine, we need to go always with the public.
Okay.
We are not into the AWS network. We are outside of the AWS network. From my local machine, I'm connecting it. So if the servers 2, 3 or n number of servers within the AWS network, so you can use private IP to connect it.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So this is a complete server creation. We should know each and every terminology. Okay. So if you are connecting from a local machine to the virtual server, so they will ask it how we are connecting, via which one. So we are connecting via SSH security shell. The default port for SSH is 22. How can see I these details? Okay, so how I'm not provided my IP address here. Still, I'm able to connect it. I told it if you want to connect, I want to give access for my server, then only I can connect it. So I need to go to the security group. I need to allow my IP address, then only I can access it. Okay, so now I have logged in it. So now if I go to my security tab of the server, so we have a security group is created for us. So we have inbound rules. Otherwise, what are the security group is associated with us? Just go to that security group. So we have inbound rules and outbound rules as we discussed. Okay, so to whom you want to give access and what ports you want to enable it. So defaultly, if you are not providing anything, SSH default port is 22. So if you are saying 0.0.0 means everybody can access it. But one more security layer, we should have the key pair. You can also have the access. If your IP address also provided access for you. Okay, you can also access the server, but you should have the key pair to access the server. Key pair is only with me, I can log in it. I have provided access for you also, 0.0./ I don't want to provide this one. I want to give only to my IP address. This is my system IP address. Okay, go to think what is my IP to type it. You can see 124, 123, 186, 781. Okay, so automatically my IP are sort of collected automatically. If you want to give access to only my IP address, only for my local machine, I can provide it. So if you are removing this, I'm deleting this entire thing. I'm not giving any permission here. So whatever the connectivity is there, I'm not giving any permissions here. So I go to the inbound rules. I don't have any rule. Just click on save rule. Same thing I'm trying to connect to the server now. Okay, go to your server. Select your server. Select your IP address. Open your SSH. Authenticate. Browse it. It is not asking for any accept. It is not asking for any login username or anything. Okay, so authorization failed server. We'll get an error. Okay. See, network error, connection timeout error. Because my IP address is not registered into security groups. So that's the reason I'm not able to access AWS account virtual server. So if you want to access this one, so we need to go to the security group. What is security group associated with my server? I need to go to the inbound rules, edit the inbound rules. We can add the rule. SSH 22 port. I want to give only to the my IP address means like this. I want to give for anybody. All the people means 0.0. Save the rule. That's it. So once you add these entries, then only we can log into the server. Same thing, we can take it. SSH, authenticate, browse it, select your key, open. Now we are able to log into the server. Okay, I'm able to log into the server. So I'm able to see the private IP. So I have successfully logged into the server. Just click on change settings if you want to change the font colors. Mouse right click, change it, something like. Okay, so like this we can see server login. So this server login we will do in entire DevOps sessions. If you want to practice Git, Jenkins, Ansible, Docker, Kubernetes, directly we'll come to EC2. We will launch a number of servers. We will log in it. Okay. So based upon the AMI selection, the username will change it. For example, now I have selected Linux. The default username is EC2 user. Okay. So different users for different AMIs. Okay. So now if you see here, so these are all the different AMIs are available. So for example, when we are clicking on the launch instance, so we have different AMI selections are there. So if we are selecting the Ubuntu, we need to go and check here. So if you are selecting the Ubuntu, so the default username for login to the server is Ubuntu. So here we need to pass login user as a Ubuntu, not EC2 user. If you are selecting as a Ubuntu AMI. Okay, so now I have selected the Linux one. This one I have selected it. So the default username is EC2 user. If you are selecting CentOS, the default username is EC2 user. If you are selecting Debian, admin. Fedora, EC2 user. RHEL, EC2 user. SUS, EC2 user. Ubuntu, except CentOS, except Debian and almost Ubuntu, remaining all the things are EC2 user. Okay, so if you are going with Ubuntu, just if you are passing EC2 user, you are following the same process, selecting the key pair, selecting the PPK file, login with. When you type the for the Ubuntu AMI, you are selecting the EC2 user. Authorization will be failed. Okay, so which AMI you are selecting it, those AMI user only we need to pass it. Selecting the Ubuntu means we need to note somewhere these notes. I'm selecting the Ubuntu AMI. So login username should be always Ubuntu. If you are selecting the Debian, I should not pass EC2 user. I should not pass Ubuntu. I should pass admin. This thing we should know it. Okay, that is okay. So this is the way we can launch the Linux servers. Everybody's clear in this part? Any questions? Any doubts?
No, sure.
Okay, okay. So same thing. How you downloaded the putty? So there is another software called MobiXterm. So MobiXterm also is one type of a software. So it will also help us to connect to the servers. Okay, so MobiXterm. So this is also one kind of a software. It will also help us to connect to your Linux servers. So main difference is putty, we need to press Alt tab for switching from one server to another server. But with Mobile Extreme, if you want to connect 20 servers at a time, so we can see the servers side by side. Okay, so for that reason, we will go with Mobile Extreme. So once you get Mobile Extreme done, so don't go with professional one, go with free edition. This is a free. For our practice, free is enough. Just click on download now. So once you click on download now, okay, so we have to extract it. So once you download it and you can extract it, you can see this symbol, Mobile Extreme. So just double click this one. Okay, now you can see the Mobile Extreme like this. So how we are connecting the server through putty, same way we can connect with other software called Mobile Extreme. So here we have the session is there. Just click on the session. We are connecting Linux server via SSH. So we need to click on SSH. To which server you want to connect it. Just go to the instances. I want to connect to my test server. Go to the details tab. Select your public IP. After providing the key pair, in the putty, it will ask for the username. By logging itself, it will ask for the default username for Linux AMI, it is EC2 user. So just I have provided the username as EC2 user. So in the click on the advanced SSH settings, use private key is there. Select the checkbox and browse your. Here we need to select the PEM file, not the PPK file. Just go to the downloads. Test is my PEM file. Just selecting a PEM file. Click on OK. Click on accept. Okay, same thing we can connect to the Linux server. You can see the private IP. Same thing we can perform the commands. Clear the screen. If you want to see fonts, just mouse middle button like this. Okay. Now, if you want to connect one more server, just click on SSH. Again, one more SSH, one more IP address. Private key. Okay. So the same server we are connecting it. Okay. Like this. So you can see all the servers side by side. If you want to work 10 servers at a time, so we can see servers side by side like this, 10 servers. So if you want to go with only one server, we will go with putty. If you want to work with multiple servers at a time, then we'll go with Mobile Extreme. Okay. So everybody's clear, right? Server creation and everything. Any doubts, any questions? Okay. So the persons who are new to the DevOps classes, so just newly added people, just they have to set up the AWS account and they have to launch the server and they have to connect to the server. Because tomorrow onwards, we are going to start the Monday onwards, we are going to start the Linux sessions. Okay. So Monday, we'll start on Monday. Okay. Any doubts, any questions? Okay, so if we start, okay, Monday onwards, we will all everybody try to set up the account and try to launch the servers and try to understand the concept of SSH, connecting the servers, what is security groups, inbound rules, outbound rules, key pairs, tags, instance types, AMIs, everything you try to understand the terminology. And Monday onwards, we'll start the DevOps sessions. Okay, these are all the prerequisites to start your DevOps session. Okay, okay, bye guys. Monday will catch you.